All right, everybody. We are very happy that you're able to join us this evening. We are very pleased to have the Jake Pomrenke from Sabre, the Director of Editorial Content. He's been there with Sabre for 9 years. Most of you have seen him on emails, if not weekly, almost daily. But he has graciously given us his evening to provide an overview of Sabre's website. We thought about that at the last meeting with Bill Nowlin's book, and we thought, okay, well, there's not just books, but there's so many other tools that Sabre has available to members that aren't always utilized, and we thought that it would be great to have access to do that. So I'm Zach Ford. I am the chair of the Dusty Baker Sacramento Sabre chapter. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Marlene to have her introduce herself, and then I'll come back and pass it over to Jacob.
Hi, I'm Marlene Vogelsang. I'm the chair of the Lefty O'Doul chapter. So good to see so many of you here today. And I also want to acknowledge that we have some other Sabre HQ people in the house and some of our esteemed board of directors. Zach, will you be introducing folks, or do you want me to just do a shout out here?
If you could do a shout out for those folks, that would be great.
Sure.
At least on my computer screen, it looks like you were screaming, like it froze while you look like in a lion pose. So your audio was coming through, your visual was like.
Okay, here we go. I'll take myself off of video. But anyway, so we have Chanel Zapata with us. Chanel is our new membership development person. And my screen, she's in my lower right-hand corner. Chanel, if you would just raise your hand and let everyone see you. I look forward to everyone getting to know you a little bit better. Our board president, Mark Armour, is on the call. And also I saw that Leslie Heafy on the board is on the call. If I'm missing anybody, please speak up. But we welcome everyone. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. And we'll go back to you, Zach, sorry.
All right, well, I just want to pass it straight over to Jacob. Gave a little bit of overview before, but he is a huge asset to Sabre, a friend of all of ours, extremely helpful when it comes to anything Sabre and extremely knowledgeable. And we're just pleased that he was able to spend his evening with us and provide us an overview of Sabre's website. So go ahead and take it away, Jacob. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Zach and Marlene, for the invitation to speak with this group tonight. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces. Hope you all had a happy holidays over the break. It's been obviously a pretty crazy year, not one that anyone would have expected, but you know, Sabre still chugging along, and we're actually pretty excited about the future. We've got a great team at the office here in Phoenix with Chanel and Scott Carter and our CEO, Scott Bush. And so it's really exciting times. We're doing a lot more, I think, than people realize sometimes. In fact, I don't know that anyone can keep up with everything that Sabre is doing. And I think when you see some of the tools and some of the production that we've managed to accomplish on the Sabre website tonight, I think you'll agree. This is one of the most exciting times in Sabre's history. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary in 2021. For those who don't know, it was formed back in 1971 at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And it was just 16 people back then. And now we're over 6,200 members. We just surpassed that milestone recently. So hopefully we can continue to grow and get bigger and better for the 50th anniversary. So Zach and Marlene invited me here tonight to talk to you all about the Sabre website. For those who don't know or those who are new, the Sabre website was relaunched last summer, and we switched our content management system to WordPress, and that was a big change behind the scenes. But out front, there's a lot of changes to help get people involved in Sabre and get new members involved, and also to show off all the great and groundbreaking research that the 6,000 plus Sabre members are doing on a daily basis, really. Again, it's really incredible when you kind of dive deep into the last 50 years, just how much is out there and just how much baseball knowledge is within the brains of all the people here and all the people around the world who call themselves Sabre members. I myself have been a Sabre member since 1998, more than half my life. And so it's been a lot of fun to, be part of this organization for a long time and kind of see a lot of the changes because it has changed a lot since I was a member and since some of you joined in, maybe the 1970s or 1980s or 90s. And so it's, there's always something new. There's always something interesting. And, one of the greatest things about this organization, the thing I think I love the most, is that I'm always learning something new from all of you, from the members. Somebody's working on a research project, somebody's working on an article or publishes something, and I learned something new. Everybody's got a story, everybody's got an expertise or a niche or an interest in some aspect of baseball, and sometimes I've never even heard of that player or that team. And so I'm always learning something new. It's really fascinating to see what everybody's working on. So want to share my screen here real quick, and we'll take a quick tour of the Sabre website. There's over 60,000 pages currently on sabre.org, so we're not going to get to all of it tonight. We're going to concentrate on a couple different areas related to the baseball research aspect of things. The research collection, which is kind of Sabre's 50-year archive of research content, the journals and the books. And everything that we're doing. And then also the research resources page, which is available as a member benefit to everybody, whether you're working on something currently or you have an interest in doing something in the future. Sabre offers a lot of research tools and tips and tricks that will help you, find out more about whatever you're interested in as it relates to baseball. So let me share my screen here real quick. Give me 1 second here.
I got the headphones on.
And for those of you just curious, it is sabre.org is the main website where you could get access to all of what Jacob is going to be referring to. Thanks, Chanel, for posting that in the chat.
All right, can everybody see my screen there?
All right.
Is it showing the Sabre website?
We're up.
Yeah. All right, excellent. All right, so as you can see, the Sabre website is looking nice and fresh with a new redesign that we launched last summer with the WordPress system. And so that's been very exciting times behind the scene for myself and all the volunteers and the interns who have been working hard to get all of the cool research stories online. So I want to kind of give you a little bit of a quick overview of what this site looks like. If you're not very familiar with sabre.org, or if you haven't been for a while, this might be new to some of you and might be familiar. So just kind of looking at the top menus here, you've got the member login, which allows you to get into our membership system, which is called Your Membership. That allows you to do things like register for Sabre Day coming up later this month, or the analytics conference, which will be virtual on Zoom in March, or renew your membership or donate or anything like that. You can also order some of the digital library books, download the free ebooks, or buy the paperbacks for 50% off that way too. And then up here is information on the chapters. Chapters are kind of the lifeblood of Sabre. This is where most people have, I guess, their firsthand experience with being a Sabre member is through your chapters, through your local chapters. And this past year, because we have so many virtual events, it's been great because a lot of people are able to attend chapter meetings that they might otherwise not get to across the country or across the world. So that's something that we always like to highlight. And then up here is the membership directory, which is a great member benefit of being a Sabre member, is that you can search the directory to find contact information, email or phone numbers for any other Sabre member. So if you're interested, in working on a bio project story, or you're working on, some other research project, and you want to contact somebody that's got an interest, in that area, you can use the membership directory to get in touch with over 6,000 other Sabre members. And, my experience has been that Sabre members are extremely generous with their time and with their energy, and, are happy to help answer questions or, point you in the right directions. And I had a lot of people, when I first joined Sabre, who were very, very helpful to me. And so I try to pass that on as well, and point people in the right directions for their projects too. So down here on the Sabre website, on the home page, you see our main menu with the research collection. This is basically all of Sabre's research in one place. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that one tonight. So you can see all the Baseball Research Journal, the National Pastime, and the digital library, and everything else that we've got. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about what makes up the Sabre research collection. And then you've got the events calendar here. And this menu opens up to show our national big conferences, the analytics conference in March during spring training, the annual convention in the summer. Hopefully we'll be in Baltimore and can do that safely in person this summer. That would be excellent. We've got a Negro League conference, the only conference dedicated to Black baseball history, the Jerry Molloy Negro League conference every year. And then we've got a Women in Baseball conference that we partner with the International Women's Baseball Center in Illinois to do that every year. And then our 19th Century Conference, which we'll be launching registration for tomorrow, believe it or not. That will also be virtual. And then the Arizona Fall League Experience, and then Sabre Day, which will be at the end of this month. So you can find out more information on all of those things there. The community page is another page to find our chapters and also our research committees. We've got about 32 research committees that are devoted to specific areas of interest. So it might be 19th century baseball, or it might be women in baseball, or the Negro Leagues, or the minor leagues. We've got a lot of different research committees, and any Sabre member is eligible to sign up for announcements from those committees, and also to participate in the committee discussions or any committee projects that we've got going on. And then we've also got something called the chartered communities, which are not geographically based, but they're kind of interest level based. And so we've got chartered communities that are kind of online only, and they're around a specific area. So we've got one for the Baseball Think Factory, and we've also got one for the Pandemic Baseball Book Club, and the Baseball Reminiscence Therapy, which is partnering with local Alzheimer's associations. So again, any Sabre member can get involved in any of these community activities and get more involved in these Sabre projects. Moving on the menu, we've got the donate button. We are a nonprofit, a 501c3, for those who don't know. So we definitely appreciate all the generosity that our members have shown over the years that will allow us to do all the cool things that we're doing throughout the year. The Sabre Fellows program is basically brand new, and this is our initiative to create educational opportunities for students and young people to get involved with Sabre through scholarship programs, through other educational opportunities. We're going to announce soon some opportunities with the analytics conference in March that are devoted to students who can build on their career skills or professional development, and hopefully get jobs working in baseball in some capacity. So that's what the Fellows program is all about. The publications area is all devoted to Sabre's flagship journals, the Baseball Research Journal and the National Pastime, and also our digital library, all the books that we publish throughout the year.
Okay.
The latest news has all the new headlines, all the announcements that we have around Sabre. That's also where you can find our weekly newsletter, This Week in Sabre, which comes out on Friday, and also where you can find the Sabercast podcast with Rob Nyer that comes out every week too. And then moving down, you see some big headlines. These are some of our upcoming events and things that we're trying to highlight. The analytics conference in March, of course. We've got early bird registration through the end of January, if anybody's interested in signing up for that and learning more. And then, of course, Sabre Day at the end of the month with Bob Costas and Tim Mead, the Hall of Fame president. So that should be a pretty exciting event on January 30th. And then our Sabre 50 at 50 project, which is kind of a monthly web series looking back at the last 50 years of baseball and using baseball cards or films and TV clips or, the greatest players or the most interesting storylines in baseball over the last 50 years. So we're publishing that every month. We'll have a new one next week, actually. And then down here is learning more about the research collection. And that's what I want to focus on a little bit today. This is a new area of the website that we launched this summer, calling it the Research Collection. And what we're trying to do here is really bring everything together and show just how much amazing research has been done in Sabre over the last 50 years. And what we've spent a lot of time working on this past year is inputting articles from the Baseball Research Journal and the National Pastime up on Sabre's website, so that it's all searchable. You can find it easily. You can go back and find an article from, the founder of Sabre, Bob Davids, from, back in 1972 or 73. I stumbled upon an interesting article that one of the old timers wrote about Negro League players from the 1970s. They were trying to track them down because nobody really knew, kind of where they had all ended up after their baseball careers ended. And so this was, published in 1972 or 73, and they're trying to track down, Satchel Paige and Cool Papa Bell and all these guys. And so it was, fascinating to be able to just, go through a couple clicks on the Sabre website and find this article from almost 50 years ago, trying to dig up information on the old Negro Leagues players. So we've got the Baseball Research Journal archives over here. We've got the National Pastime articles, and then we've got the Sabre Digital Library. And for those who don't know, we're celebrating 10 years of the Sabre Digital Library this year. We've published more than 85 books that are all collaborative efforts with dozens of Sabre members involved in every single book. And these are all free ebook downloads for Sabre member. Your Sabre membership gets you all 85 books. You can download as many as you want. And we've got books dedicated to great and memorable teams of the past. We've got books dedicated to umpires. We've got books dedicated to baseball scouts. We've got, books. We've got a few books now dedicated to great Negro Leagues teams. We've got a book on the greatest games of the 19th century. We've got 100 stories of games from the 19th century in one place. And so that's part of the digital library, and your Sabre membership can get you all that. It's pretty good value for your membership, that you can download 85 books for free or get half off, 50% off for the paperbacks of all those. And then down here, we've got the Baseball Games Project, which we've got more than 2,000 stories now published on memorable and interesting and historically significant baseball games that were played. And again, we cover the gamut. We've got games from the 1830s, and we've got games from this past season, the 2020 season, the pandemic season, and everything in between. We've got games from the minor leagues. We've got exhibition games. We've got World Series games, you name it. There's over 2,000 stories in the Games Project on all kinds of interesting games. And so that's one of Sabre's newer initiatives. It was formed back in 2014, and it's really a great way, if you're interested in writing about baseball, it's actually a great way to get involved, because it's not nearly as involved as trying to write a baseball research journal article, or even a biography for the biography project. Games project stories are a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to manage. And so if you've never dipped your toes in actually publishing baseball research, and you want to get some clips, whether you're a student, whether you're a senior retired, whether you're in the middle of your career, whatever you want to do, the Games project is a great way to get involved. And then the biography project, which is almost 20 years old now, formed back in 2002 by our current board president, Mark Armour. And it's now going strong with more than 5,000 biographies of anyone in baseball, not just players. Where the original goal was to write a full-length biography of every single player who ever played in the major leagues. And at that time, it was somewhere around 15,000 players in the major leagues. We're creeping up on a little bit over close to 20,000 now. So we're about 25% of the way there. And of course, they keep adding new players all the time. But we'll get there eventually. But now we've got 5,000 biographies, and we've got the Hank Aaron's and the Babe Ruths of the world, and then we've got players that played one game, or people that were involved in the minor leagues or the Negro leagues, or you name it. We've got people who were famous outside of baseball, like Gene Autry, the Angels owner. We did a biography of Sam Malone, the Cheers bartender, fictional character. So we've got biographies on all kinds of baseball figures, over 5,000 of them now. So that's, again, that's actually probably the most visible project that Sabre currently has, because you can find these biographies on every player's baseball reference page and their retro sheet page. And we link out to those websites as well. So you can look at their stats after reading their biography. So the biography project is, again, a great way to get involved. It's, also part of our books, our digital library books. We have books full of biographies of different players, along with other stories, throughout the game. So again, just fantastic way to kind of get involved and tell these stories, because that's what Sabre is all about, is trying to tell the story of baseball and all the things that all the people that are involved and everything that's happened. So and then finally over here you've got the oral history collection. And this again is a relatively new addition to the Sabre website. This is where we have published more than 500 audio interviews with baseball figures, from throughout the game. A lot of players, of course, but you've also got umpires and scouts and executives, and even a few commissioners, I believe, are in there in the oral history collection. And so you can go through and listen to oral history interviews with people like Buck O'Neill, the Negro League's great, or Hall of Famers like Brooks Robinson, or I think Warren Spahn might be in there too. Carl Hubble is in there. So a lot of really interesting interviews, and some of these go back about 40 or 50 years. We've got a great interview with Pete Gray, the one-armed outfielder for the St. Louis Browns during World War II. He was famously reluctant to talk about his baseball career, but one of our members back in the 1980s tracked him down for a radio show and donated that interview to our oral history collection. So a lot of really, really interesting stuff. And, of course, if you're interested in say, writing a biography for Sabre, one of the ways that you can kind of get started is to do an oral history interview with a player. If they're living or, around and they're interested in talking, you can do an oral history interview that we can post on the website, and then you can write up a biography, and maybe you can write up a game story about that person too. And so there's lots of ways to contribute and to put your stuff out there and get published. And again, it's a great way to kind of build clips if you're interested in that, or just tell a story and tell an interesting baseball story. So there's lots of ways to get involved in Sabre. And then down here below, we've got some research tools. And I think these are a little bit overlooked sometimes by members, because again, there's so much on the website. I think it's hard to remember exactly what all is available. on the website. But these tools are designed to help members, find out more and really just get started in some ways. We've got a how-to guide that goes back about 30 years about just trying to get tips and techniques on how to do baseball research and how to do an oral history interview. If you've never interviewed anyone before, we've got guides on how to do that, and sample questions and things like that. So that's again, just a great way to kind of get started on what's out there. And then the research resources, which I'll get into a little bit deeper in a moment. And that is another just fascinating page that we've got all kinds of different tools, different websites that are out there, some of which are publicly available, some of which are only available to Sabre members, that can help you kind of find out whatever question you might have that's baseball related, whether you're working on a project or not. Whatever question you have, Sabre members are here to help, and the Sabre website is here to help as well. And so the research resources, which we'll get into a little bit deeper in a minute, are there for you as a member. That's a member benefit that we offer to everybody. So I want to go through a little bit real quick of our flagship publications so that you can see what's there, because some of this is basically brand new in the last month or two that we just put up in the Baseball Research Journal archives. Our newest edition, which some of you have received by mail. If not, it should be coming out soon. We had a few delays in shipping, unfortunately. But the fall 2020 edition has Josh Gibson on the cover. Beautiful illustration there by Gary Sieradowski, an artist from the Cincinnati area, who's a longtime Sabre member. That's the newest edition, but we've got 50 years worth of baseball research journals available on the website, and you can go through and you can read articles from almost all of them now. We've got everything from the 1970s and most everything from the 1980s that are online now, and along with the past decade. And then we'll be kind of filling in the gaps over the coming months to try to get the 1990s and early 2000s in there as well. But you can go in and you can read articles from every single baseball research journal in the last 50 years. So again, just amazing collection of what's out there. The cover story for this most recent edition that just came out is on Josh Gibson homering in all the 15 big league ballparks that he ever played in during his Negro Leagues career, written by Alan Cohen. And so, a lot of just amazing stories that are out there. We've got almost 2,000 Baseball Research Journal articles from the last 50 years that are now online, and we'll probably get about 2,000 more once we're finished. So it's pretty incredible to see what's out there, and you can keep scrolling through here to see all the other Baseball Research Journals, and then you can click through and you can read articles from all of them. So it's really incredible research that's out there. And again, I said we've got a little bit of a gap between 1989 and 2009 that we'll be working on over the coming months and years. But before that, we've got a whole bunch of articles from the 1980s, and you can see how the covers have changed over the years. This one, we actually don't have an original cover of the very first Baseball Research Journal, but a lot of cool stuff in there from some really heavy hitters, some Hall of Famers in the baseball research world. Robert Davids, Bob Davids, he was our founder of Sabre back in 1971. Pete Palmer, who's still around, he's a Sabermetric pioneer. So a lot of really interesting stories that you can go through and click through and read. And then you can also download the PDFs for all of these baseball research journals. And you can click here and you can order the print edition of those journals if you'd like as well. So yeah, that's the Baseball Research Journal archives. Pretty incredible stuff to have all that online. And same thing for the National Pastime, which is our convention journal every year. That goes back to 1982. And then let me scroll through the digital library so you can see what that is. Our newest book that came out this past fall was Baseball's Biggest Blowout Games, edited by Bill Nallon, longtime Sabre vice president, with stories on every single Major League franchise's biggest blowout, most lopsided games that they've ever won. Although as an Atlanta Braves fan, I'll say we're missing one because they had a 29-run outburst this past year that wasn't included in the book because it came out too early. But you can go through here and you can download any of Sabre's digital library books, all 85 or 87 of them now. And you can go and you can download any single one of them for free as a Sabre member. So incredible benefit. Again, we've got books on, you name it. We've got an entire book dedicated to Babe Ruth, with essays on his career and his legacy and everything else. We've got a book called Green Cathedrals, which is kind of an encyclopedia of ballparks, Major League and Negro League ballparks. If even a single game was played at one of them, we've got information on all of these ballparks. 50 years of the Kansas City Royals and San Diego Padres celebrating their anniversary. We've got a book on the greatest games at Wrigley Field. You name it. A lot of really cool stuff. And all of these are free ebooks to Sabre members. So really cool resource, really cool member benefit that anyone can take advantage of. So with 85 books, I hope you'll find one, at least one, that strikes your fancy, that you'll be interested in. And then I want to go through the biography project real quick. Again, this is probably one of the most interesting projects that Sabre has ever done in its first 50 years, trying to write biographies of everyone in baseball. And you can kind of see going through here some of the newest biographies that we've written. Some of these people you may have heard of and some you may not. Dusty Baker, of course, Houston Astros manager. Harold Baines, one of the newest Hall of Famers. But, going through here, there's probably a few people you've heard of, but sometimes the players that you haven't heard of have the most interesting stories. And so that's something that I want to encourage anyone that is interested to kind of browse through and see what might be there, because there's all kinds of aspects to these people's stories that you may not know, because part of the goal of the bio project is to write a full life biography, not just their baseball careers, but what happened before and after their baseball careers, what happened off the field, what happened with their families, or family history. So there are some amazing stories in the bio project, and again, I learned something new by reading just about every single one of these. So there's all kinds of interesting stories out there that you can find. You can scroll through and click on a random biography if you don't want to scroll through 5,000 different ones. And then down here on the bio project, we've got different pages dedicated to various categories. So if you made it into the Hall of Fame, you're elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, we've got a page with everybody listed on there who has a Sabre bio. If you made an all-star team in Major League Baseball, these are all the book projects. So you can go through. This was the 1919 Chicago White Sox book that I edited a few years ago. And you can go through and you can click on any player's biography who was in that book. So a lot of really cool stuff here. And then you can go through and find, all players born in Cuba that we have a biography for. So a lot of really interesting stuff here. And then one aspect of the Sabre website that is brand new that we're very proud of is this upgraded search tool through WordPress. And this is something that we've been trying to get for a long time, and we just didn't have the web development resources to really build this type of thing. But now that we've got so much online, again, more than 60,000 pages on the Sabre website with baseball research, we're able to kind of build this amazing search tool, and you can go through and search for whoever you want and probably find some Sabre stories about that person. The biography of that person should pull up pretty quickly. That's on the search, so you can go through and read Roberto Clemente's bio that was written by Stu Thornley, and then you've got all these journal articles that mention Roberto Clemente that you can read, from years and years ago. We've got some from our Pittsburgh Convention Journal from 2018, and then we've got others from the 1973 Baseball Research Journal, right after he died in the plane crash on New Year's Eve in 1972. So all kinds of interesting stories Here's from our games project. Stories, the only inside the park walk-off grand slam. Clemente hit that in 1956. And so we've got a great story from the games project on that. Here's one on his 3,000th hit that you can go through, and pages of Roberto Clemente or whoever you're interested in. And so the search function on the new Sabre website is something that we're very, very proud of. And now that we've got so much material available from Sabre's first 50 years, this is something I want to encourage you to use and to try to find anything that you're looking for. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. So moving on, because I could talk about this all night, but we don't have all time to talk about this. This is the research resources page. And this is what I wanted to focus on a little bit, because I think this is kind of an underutilized page for Sabre members that they don't always know about. And these are all the tips, the research tips and tools that we offer to all Sabre members to help you find whatever it is that you're interested in or whatever it is that you're working on. One of the greatest aspects of being a Sabre member is having access to the paper of record newspaper service. And that offers complete online archives to the sporting news going back to 1886. And you can search the sporting news and find anything you're looking for from that, what used to be called the Bible of baseball, going back to the 19th century. And you can, as a Sabre member, you have free access to paper of record to do that. But there are so many other amazing research resources that we have made available to Sabre members on all kinds of different subjects. And some of them are very niche and very esoteric. And some of them are, a little bit more widespread. We've got Ken Mars, who produced this amazing resource guide to the very first Black professional baseball league called the National Colored League in 1887. And this is over 100 pages of notes and articles and citations that you can download to find out more about this early Black baseball history. And, just a project that Ken had been working on for many years. He wanted to make it available to Sabre members. And so we built a page for it and put it on our research resources area. Same thing, Dennis Pajot with the Milwaukee Brewers has 20 years of research files that he wanted to make available. So we threw those online as well. Here's hundreds of documents, thousands of documents related to the Federal League lawsuit against organized baseball, the American and National League in 1915. This eventually led to the famous Supreme Court decision on Major League Baseball's antitrust status a few years later. But we've got thousands and thousands of affidavits and depositions related to those lawsuits that are available for any Sabre member to look at. So if you're doing anything on baseball in the early 20th century, the Federal League or the business of baseball, you can go through and read all that. So some amazing archives that are available. There's a Bill James magazine called Baseball Analyst. This is different from the Baseball Abstract, which is a little bit more famous. This was a self-published newsletter that Bill James put out in the 1980s that was devoted to sabermetrics. We have every issue, all 40 issues online that you can download. Thanks to Rob Nair and Bill James and Phil Birnbaum making those available for us a few years ago. So you can go through and just, read all this amazing stuff. Baseball Digest is now online. You can go through and read that magazine. And then the Baseball Index, which is another tool that's been going on for almost 30 years now. And the Baseball Index is an amazing website through what's now called the Baseball Index Committee, led by Andy McHugh. And this is a place where you can search for a player and find out just about any article or book section or chapter that was written about that person. You can find that out. There's over 250,000 citations of research articles that are about any subject in baseball history. And so this is something that Sabre's been doing for 30 years now. And we have that online at the touch of a button. You can search for Shoeless Joe Jackson or whoever you want, Satchel Paige, and you'll probably get dozens or hundreds of links or hits to articles that were written about that person. So a lot of really, really cool stuff in the Baseball Index if you've never checked that out. The Sabre Baseball Reference Encyclopedia, also known as the Baseball Reference Bullpen Area, is kind of a Wikipedia style site, which a lot of Sabre members contribute to. And so that's another great resource to find out, more information. You can search for any player, any subject, any team, and find out information there. So that's another cool thing that you can find out, basically anything you want on different players. So going through a few more of these. This one's one of my favorite here. This is our list of all 4 home run games in professional baseball history. And this is anything, everything. We've got minor leagues, winter leagues, Negro leagues, international leagues, you name it. If somebody hit 4 or more home runs in a game, in a professional game, we add it to the list. And so it's pretty incredible. This is, another piece of baseball research that Sabre members have been contributing to for decades, trying to find out all these different games with 4 home runs. So a lot of really, really cool stuff in here. Here's a guide to sabermetric research, which our statistical analysis committee put together. This is actually a really, really popular area of the Sabre website. And this is something that kind of, if you're new into sabermetrics, if you're trying to find out, how to learn more about it or how to get into doing sabermetric style research, you can go to our guide to sabermetrics and find out more information. And it gives you some links to different websites like Fangraphs and Baseball Prospectus, areas where they're doing sabermetric research on a daily basis. And so a lot of really cool stuff in that guide to sabermetric research that is, again, on our baseball research resources page. So as you can see, just a lot of really, really interesting stuff. I won't go through it all, but here's a list of all minor league no-hitters that are documented. Sabre member Chuck McGill has been putting that together. That's on a shared Google spreadsheet that you can find out information about all minor league no-hitters that we know about. Several hundred of them. So a lot of really, really cool stuff in the research resources section. So I encourage you to check that out and, dig in and see, what, whatever you're interested in. There's probably something that we can, help you find out through this, through the research resources page. And then toward the end here, here are more links to public websites that have baseball related materials that you can go through and find information on, any aspect of baseball. This is all available to the public, but we put them here on this page so that, it's a little bit easier to find, for any subject that you're interested in baseball research. So that's the research resources page. So those are the 2 big areas that I wanted to cover tonight, but happy to answer any questions about any aspect of the Sabre website. I'll keep my screen up, but if anybody wants to either throw some questions in the chat or ask them out loud, that's fine too. But yeah, I'll keep my screen up in case anybody wants me to go back to any different area. But
all right, everybody, we'll go ahead and give everybody the opportunity to just speak and ask their questions. And we'll just assume people will do one at a time. But if you wanted to unmute yourself, turn on your video and ask a question of Jacob, you're more than welcome to do so. I know that he went over a lot of things, so there's probably got to be quite a few questions out there. So go ahead and
Zach,
do you have anything?
King, I've got a question to ask.
All right.
And great presentation, Jacob. Thanks for coming on tonight. And I'm really pleased by the indexing of those journal articles. That's, for a long time we had to do that, singularly, issue by issue. So that's fantastic. I had a quick question about presentations that have been made at conferences, maybe at some point. Are those going to be posted in the future?
That's a great question. That's actually one of our newest projects that I had our student interns working on this past fall. We've built a database of all the audio recordings from the Sabre National Convention and the Sabre Analytic Conference from the last 10 years. And so, yeah, we will be making those available. Hopefully later this year, we'll be making those available online as well in one place so that they're all searchable.
Thank you.
Hi, Jacob. Just a quick question. Again, great presentation. It was super enlightening. Thanks for showing all those resources. Regarding the virtual bookshelf, who should I contact regarding publishing a book with Sabre? Or what's the procedure there?
So we have actually established an editorial board that takes in all proposals for research projects, including book projects. So if you click on the publications area of the website at the top on the main menu, there should be some information about submitting a proposal to the editorial board. And that's where you should go. And there, we have a web form, a Google form that you can fill out with more information about your project. The editorial board meets about twice a year to look at different proposals and, approve or go back with questions about various things. So that would be the way to, if you've got anything that you're interested in working on.
Got it. Thank you.
Hey, this is Tony Oliver. My proposal just got approved. So if you have any questions about that, I can certainly help you out as well.
Thank you.
Yep. And hey, Jake, we're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, Tony's got a fascinating project. I will not spoil it because it's going to be really interesting. We'll be announcing more details about that fairly soon, but his proposal was accepted very recently, and it's going to be exciting to work on that.
Thank you.
I have
Jacob,
a comment. I have a comment, if this is okay.
Sure.
Go ahead.
This is not a question, just a comment. I joined Sabre in 1985, back in the days when we were, pre-internet. Everything was done looking up stuff on books and phone calls and no email even. And back in that day, I dreamed of what you are presenting today. This is just such a culmination of decades of progress, of positive forward progress. Just in my estimation, just in the past 5 years or so, the Sabre resource has just grown leaps and bounds. This is just great stuff. So kudos, great work. Thank you, Jacob.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I cannot take credit alone because I am standing on the shoulders of a lot of amazing people and amazing researchers in Sabre for the last 50 years that have, put all this stuff together. I have the great fortune of being able to kind of shepherd it on the website and make it more accessible to people online. But no, it's really thanks to everyone who has done all this work for the last 50 years, because it's really an amazing organization. And we always used to say that it was the best kept secret in baseball. But the reality is we don't want to be a secret. We want everybody to know what is going on in Sabre and what's out there. And the fact that we now have 50 years of research content that we can put online and say, hey, this is what we've been doing. This is what we've been working on, whether it's the Negro Leagues or the minor leagues or women in baseball or the Black Sox scandal or you name it. We've been doing all this cool stuff. So we want people to see it, and I think that's really the goal here is to make this more accessible to people. We had more than 4 million views of our website in 2020. So we hope we're getting out there, and showing people, hey, here's all this cool stuff that we're working on. Because the reality is, Sabre members are doing more in 2021 than at any point in the last 50 years. People are working on different projects, different articles. We're publishing, tenfold more articles, this coming year than we ever did, in the first 50 years of Sabre's history. And so, we want people to realize, hey, this is, there's some amazing stuff, and hey, we want you to be part of it, because the reality is, if you love baseball, if you have any interest in baseball whatsoever, there is a place for you in this organization. And so that's the goal of this website. That's the goal of this organization is, if you love baseball, hey, we're here for you. So that's what we're doing here. That's the whole point.
Jacob, this is Marlene. Thanks again. This was great. I especially love the search function, and I'd love to know a bit more how that works. But could you quickly show us the community section and how folks can keep in touch with each other that way? Thanks.
Absolutely. So this is, again, this is the community page on the Sabre website that you can click on the main menu there. And on the right side here, you've got more information about all the, I think, what are we up to? 81 or 84 chapters, I think. Chanel might know the real number. Over 80 chapters around the world. And then our research committees devoted to various interest groups. And then the charter communities, which are kind of these online virtual communities. So this is the place where you can find out all that information. And again, if you are a Sabre member, if you're here tonight and you pay your dues, you can be part of any chapter. You can be part of any research committee or any chartered community, you know, and you don't even have to get involved. You can just sign up for the email alerts and get the announcements or the newsletters throughout the year. And so again, it's just, you know, it's a great way to kind of be involved in Sabre. You know, you can be as active as you want. You can get as involved as you want. For me, you know, joining as young as I did, I was in high school when I joined, and it was a great way to get involved. It was a great way to kind of build my professional skills. And, you know, I became a chair of a research committee, the Black Sox Scandal Committee, in 2010. And so, you know, it was a great way to kind of, you know, get involved and show, you know, some leadership skills in that way, and, you know, work on different projects with other Sabre members. And so, you know, we encourage students and young professionals to get involved with Sabre, because there's a lot of opportunities out there, you know, working solo, working together, whatever you want. We've probably got a way for you to get involved and do something baseball related. So that's the community page. And I actually want to highlight something different that we have not announced yet, that we're going to announce very, very soon. We've mentioned this to a few chapter leaders and a few committee leaders, but we are forming some email discussion groups that are hopefully going to work a little bit more intuitively for people. Some of you have been part of the Yahoo email discussion groups over the last 15 or 20 years, dedicated to various subjects. Well, Yahoo discontinued all of their email groups back in December, a couple of weeks ago. And so we had about 10 or 15 groups that were around. And so we moved them into something called groups.io. It's a third-party vendor that basically focuses on these email discussion groups. And so we moved the existing groups into groups.io. And it's basically, you subscribe, you send an email, you subscribe to the list, and then everything happens over email. You just post back and forth. You can reply to people. You can attach images, photos, files, PDFs, whatever. And so this is something that we're going to offer to all chapters and all research committees and chartered communities to get involved with. And some of these groups already exist because we moved them over from Yahoo in the past couple weeks. But you've got one devoted to the Ted Williams chapter in San Diego, one that I moderate for the Black Sox Scandal, the Dead Ball Era Committee, the Baseball Records Committee. And these are all email discussion groups. And it's a really cool way to kind of stay involved and you know, have some back and forth conversation because as Marlene and Zach know, as chapter leaders, it's a little bit one-way conversation in the Sabre system. You know, you're sending emails out to the group and you might get some replies back, but it's kind of one-way conversation. So this allows for more back and forth discussion. And so we're going to be announcing this, the launch of the Sabre email discussion groups very soon, and opening this up to more chapters and more committees. But this will be something that all Sabre members can join and be part of. And it's, you know, something that for those of us who have been in the old Yahoo email groups for the last 15 or 20 years, this is just a really cool way to kind of just, you know, build community around a particular chapter or around a particular interest level of, you know, committee interest. So this is something that we'll be offering very, very soon to all the chapters and committees. And this will be just, you know, another way for you to communicate, and another way for the chapters and the committees and the chartered communities to, you know, stay in touch with each other, especially now, you know, when we're not meeting in person very often, if at all. And so, you know, this is just another way to stay in touch and you know, get to know more people. So
Jacob, this is Stu. I guess this would be in community too, but the Sabre Connections, which started a while ago, and I know I've connected with some people. I haven't done a dang thing with it. I'm not sure anybody else who has, but are there people who are using that, and what are some of the good things that come out of that. And I know it would be a matter of really kind of promoting it with a lot of other people, like within the chapter, but is that something that's on here too?
Yeah, so that is what Stu's talking about is it's called Social Link. It's basically a social network only for Sabre members. You have to log in to access it, which you can do at the top of the website here. I'm actually already signed out, so you can sign in up here on the top right, and it will take you straight to the Social Link platform. It's essentially an in-house social network offered by our membership system. And so, it's one of those tools that, we make available to all Sabre members. If you want to use it, great. If you don't want another social network, that's totally fine. We've also got, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and everything else. But this one is available for Sabre members only. So just, another way to get involved. And you can connect with people just like Facebook and, see their updates, their status updates. They can post photos, they can post links, whatever you want. So this is just, again, another way for Sabre members to connect that's out there if you want to use it and get involved as much as you can. There's a messaging system that, again, similar to Facebook, that you can message back and forth to different people. You can also, find the directory up here. You can update your own profile and any information that you have in your profile. And then another cool area of this is the quick links menu, which is where you can find different areas on the Sabre website, including the bookstore where you can download the ebooks for free, event registration for Sabre Day or the analytics conference. The research resources are here, easy way to reset your password, and then the admin tools for the chapter and the committee leaders to use to send out their announcements or to organize things, to organize Zoom meetings like tonight or anything else. So that's, and then groups where you can find all of this is where you can actually sign up for email announcements from the chapters and the committees. So that's I'm actually signed up for all of them. So that's again, another way to get involved here.
Zach, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul here. Jacob, great conversation here. It's just a great presentation. A wonderful resource here. My problem is every time I get onto paper of record, it freezes. Is that a problem that you've heard of?
I have not heard of it recently. They have had, a few issues throughout the year with the service being down or their server outage or something like that. I was on it earlier today. I did not have any issues with it. But yeah, I can actually check it right now and we can see.
Yeah, the question is, what do I do about it if it happens, right? Yeah.
You might actually switch your browser if you're on Firefox or Internet Explorer. Try Google Chrome, or if you're on Chrome, try Firefox or
okay.
A different browser.
I'm on Netscape.
Is that right?
No, it's not right.
Netscape. I mean, like Yahoo. Whoever uses Yahoo anymore. But let's try it. Yeah, let's see what happens. Because it was real frustrating.
So this is what it's supposed to do, by the way.
But
I'm not having any issues here. So
can you scroll down?
It stays up for a while.
But can you scroll down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, thanks.
Can zoom in, and then can download over here too. So
excellent. Thank you.
It's be working now. Any other questions?
So my question, Jacob, is this is Mark. Is this being recorded?
Yes, this is being recorded, and I'll make sure to post it within the next day or two and have it be available for anybody to share throughout their networks as well.
Yeah, I honestly think that this is something that I think every Sabre member should see. because I did have people say to me last summer when this was first launched, like, I've heard all this stuff about the Sabre website. What's so good about it? And, the answer is kind of everything, but I think this is a good sort of intro. I think Jacob did a fantastic job of going through it. I mean, he said some things I hadn't remembered were on the website as well. But I often said over the years about the bio project that the reason it became so successful was that people love seeing their work online. And it was really the only way you could do that within Sabre really easily and very quickly. And now that's true for so much more of Sabre. There's never been a better time if you want to publish. There's never been a better time if you want to start a project. There's never been a better time if you want to find all the incredible stuff that Sabre has done. I think it's sort of extraordinary. It's something that I was hoping we would do for a long time, and it's a lot better than even I was thinking. When the search stuff first came up, I was showing somebody and I said, well, let's type in Jackie Robinson. Let's see what Sabre has done on Jackie Robinson. And I was absolutely blown away by how much we've done on Jackie Robinson. Now, obviously he's Jackie Robinson, not everybody's him, but you could write a pretty decent, very long article about Jackie Robinson just by using the resources on the Sabre website. And I think that's true about so much. I think Jacob's comment about the best kept secret is exactly right. Like, that was never a compliment. And I'm hoping that this website's going to change that.
So, one of the areas I'll put Mark on the spot here because he's done some amazing work himself as a researcher. But one of the areas of the website that I'm most proud of now is that on every author's page, if you have written a biography, you can click on, or a journal article or anything else, you can click on that person's author's page and you can go through and you can see anything that they have written for Sabre that is on the website, and go through and click all the different biographies that Mark has done, different games project stories, different journal articles, you name it, different research subsection of the bio project, and other research articles. So you can go through, and now for every single author who has a page on the Sabre website, if you have done, again, we're missing some from the 1990s and the early 2000s, but anything in the last decade, and we're starting to fill in those gaps over the last 50 years. You can go through and you can find anything that they have done for Sabre, and eventually this is going to include your research presentations from the last 10 years, which have been recorded. This will include any oral history interviews that you've done once those have been moved over to the Sabre website. So we're trying to put all this stuff in one place and put it out there so that anything that you've done for Sabre is here in one place, and you can find it very, very easily. So this, again, just something that we've been wanting to do for a long, long time. And we just, we didn't have the capacity to do it, and we didn't have the research material to do it. That was online. When I first started at Sabre in 2011, working on the staff, I think we definitely had fewer than 10,000 articles, 10,000 pages on the website. Now we have over 65,000 pages on the website with research content. So, I mean, it's incredible just in the last decade, what we've been able to make available. And so that's something that, again, we all get that little ego boost as researchers of, hey, my name's on something, that I've worked on. And so it's fun to be able to go through this and see, because some of us that have been doing this for many years are like, oh, I don't even remember writing that a long time ago. But yeah, it's incredible, what's out there. And so to see your name, for the first time, hey, I published a biography for Sabre that, appeared in a book or something like that. It's a thrill. It's always been a thrill to me. I'm sure it has been to Mark and Zach and everyone else who has published something for Sabre. And so this is something that, again, we want to make this stuff more accessible, more visible. We want people to know, hey, this is, if you're part of Sabre, as a member, or even just, somebody who's interested in baseball, there's something for you here. There is always something for you here. And so that's, why we, went through almost a 18-month effort to rebuild the website and to relaunch it through WordPress here. And so, we've got some really exciting projects coming up that are going to really enhance, what we're able to do here online. So this is just, again, I mean, this is really, just the tip of the iceberg of what we have available. I mean, there's so much more. The reality is, I work on this website every single day, and even I, don't remember everything that's out there that Sabre members are working on. It's, there's so much out there. There's so much research, so much, so many baseball stories that are out there that Sabre members are, out there telling the world, showing the world. Here's all this stuff. The Negro Leagues announcement that Major League Baseball made recently. So much of that is based on the last 50 years of research by Sabre members, going back to the very first day, the very first day of Sabre. And one of the original research committees was on the Negro Leagues, and John Hallway and other people were involved in the establishment of that, trying to dig up information, stats, records, box scores, biographical data on all these Negro Leagues players for the past 50 years. And now in the 21st century, we're at this point where, we actually do know so much about this. And, we have accurate statistics and box scores, for about 70% of all Negro Leagues games, in kind of the major era. And so, this stuff is out there, and it's, going back generations of, baseball researchers, going back, even before Sabre was established in 1971. So it's really, really incredible what's out there and what's going to continue to be out there, because, we have 6,000 members and they're working on new stuff. There's more stories to tell. So it'll never, the well will never dry up. There's always something new to learn about baseball, because, and Peter Mancuso, our 19th century committee chair, says this all the time, but and I like to steal his phrase, but baseball history is history. It tells the story of our culture. It tells the story of the world, and the people in it. And, so there's all kinds of things to learn about the world through baseball. Baseball is just kind of the vessel that we all learn about things through. And so it's really incredible what we've got going on, and I'm excited to be part of it in the future too, because there's so much out there that we still have to learn.
Well, Jacob.
So Jacob, hi, just one quick question. Hi, this is Perry. With this vast repository of information, how are you making sure that it's not lost if the website gets hacked or somehow evaporates or something like that? I'm just curious what kind of backup there is for all of
We
this.
definitely have backups and backups to backups. So
okay, good.
that is
good
absolutely
to know.
Something
very
that
reassuring. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
All the files, all the baseball research journals, everything is backed up in multiple places.
Excellent.
So, we've got physical copies of a lot of this stuff, certainly the books and the magazines and everything. So that's definitely the web security. When you do build a website and enhance the website, web security does become, a more important factor. So that is absolutely something. We've got a very good development team on call to help us out on that end. So it's that's definitely an area of interest. Archiving, backing up all of the files, all the newsletters, all the audio interviews, you name it. So.
Great. Yeah, the audio interviews especially, you don't want to lose those. So thank
Jacob,
you.
quick question.
This is wonderful. Yeah.
Jacob, quick question. For groups.io, you you posted that there is a chapter that's currently using that. Is that going to be for all chapters, or is it by request right now?
It will be by request. We're not going to set them up for every single group because there's probably, plenty of groups that don't have any interest in an email discussion forum. That's kind of a technology that's been overtaken by social media these days. But there's still some useful aspects to it. And there's still people that enjoy that era of technology. So any chapter or committee that wants to set one up through groups.io, we will make that available.
All right, we'll go ahead and close this up. But Jacob, I can't thank you enough. And I'm sure that everybody feels the same way. What you were able to provide was a great overview, Sabre resources that will, I'm sure, spend countless hours playing around on, probably even tonight. But I really, really appreciate you spending your evening with us, sharing those resources. And again, I will make sure to post this on YouTube within the next day or two. If you post, just search anything regarding Dusty Baker or Lefty O'Doul, Sabre chapter, Jacob Pomrenke, it will come up in a YouTube search within the next day or two. And definitely hope that you spread the word for this recording on to folks, because I'm sure that they will find it just as beneficial as we have. And you're a treasure, Jacob. Thank you very much for all you do for us, for all you've done for Sabre. And hopefully I'll see you in person this year as well. Maybe Arizona Fall League will come together or something like that. That'll be a safe thing to go to. But again, thanks, Jacob. And thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. Have a great night, everybody, and have fun on the Sabre website. Take care. Bye-bye.